Hello, my name is Yorick. Welcome to the Rob Rivers Horror Show, where everything horror gets a stab at. Will he survive or become one of the dead? Let's find out what he's looking at today, shall we?
And once again, welcome to the Rob Rivers Horror Show. Today, I'm going to start a series, and the series is actually going to go a little bit out of whack because this is just how I'm just finding them as I go along here. But we're going to start off with Hellraiser 1 before I go into the other ones, because the next review that I think I got coming up is Hellraiser 7. So it's just kind of how I'm viewing them. So let's go over Hellraiser. All right, a couple, Larry and Julia, move into a house that was once owned by Larry's mother. Larry has a brother named Frank that has somehow vanished. Meanwhile, moving in, the husband cuts his hand on a head nail, or nail head, whatever you want. He rushes to a wife who's upstairs in this really ugly-looking room, having a fantasy about his brother Frank. All right, we get the idea that they're having an affair. All right, so when he comes in, he's bleeding on the floor and stuff like that, and they rush him to the hospital. While gone, the blood is soaked into the floor, and something absorbs it, releasing Frank from his hellish nightmare, but only a part of him. Once Julie finds out, she helps Frank get more fresh blood to make his body whole. During the course of this, we meet Larry's daughter, Christy, played by, she's gorgeous, stuff like that. The name slips my mind. Who really doesn't like Julia and soon catches her bringing a man home. To her horror, she meets her Uncle Frank again. She then learns about the mystical cube that took Frank into this hellish world. She is caught in a nightmare as she tries to save her father and make Frank go back to that hellish world that is controlled by the Cenobites that love to torture and watch you bleed. This is where Pinhead comes into play. And the icon is born. All right, what works in the film? The acting is solid and has outstanding makeup effects. Director Clive Barker, who also wrote this, Clive Barker is an excellent writer. If you read a lot of his stuff, which I have, his books of blood are great. There should be a lot more of them made into films. So I really wish Pig Blood Blues was really one. That one made me cringe. Pigs chewing on people's feet and stuff. So, okay, back to Hellraiser. There is, like I said, there is blood and ripping flesh scenes that'll make you cringe. It is a different story with crazy demons and creatures. And I like the wall crawler on this thing. When Christy opens and sees his door open up, this thing comes flying in on her. It's just kind of crawling on the wall. It's really wild looking. So, what doesn't work is the pace of the film. All right, it seems to take up most of the film just trying to get the point of the cubes and the Cenobites. All right, they make an appearance here and there, just enough for you to keep them in mind. But when it comes down to it, it all happens so fast that there's no time to enjoy this creepiness in the film. It takes over an hour of the film for them finally to emerge to where they play a part of the story. All right, we deal more with Frank and Julia trying to get Frank repaired and everything like that so he can get out of that house before the Cenobites come and get him. So overall, Hellraiser is a new and unique story with a hellish idea. However, I didn't think much of this. All right, I remember when this came back out in the 80s, and I remember seeing it in the theaters. It was back in 87 or so. And it was a shock to the system type of horror that thrilled audiences all around the world, making Pinhead the new horror icon. But when I saw the film, that has a great idea. It really does. I really like the idea of this film, especially this little cube. And I would have one sitting on my desk if I could find one. I know they're out there. I've seen them, stuff like that. But it's just every time I find one, I never have the money to buy it. But it's too drawn out of the story to make me like the icon the way the public did. And I still feel the same way today. Still watching Hellraiser, it's like you couldn't get enough of Pinhead and the Cenobites. You wanted to deal with more with them. Not this Frank guy. You know they're going to come and get Frank. You know what they're going to do. But it took so long to get there. And for an hour and a half film, that's what kind of destroys it. That it's like